Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios, it's time for Women in Motion. Brought to you by WBEC West. Join forces, succeed together. Now, here's your host.
Lee Cantor here with Women in Motion. We have a great show today, but before we get started, it's important to recognize our sponsor, WBEC West. Without them, we couldn't be sharing these important stories. Today on Women in Motion, we have Talia Boone with Postal Petals. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Lee. And Lee, I appreciate you for having me. Super excited to talk to you today.
Well, I am excited to learn what you're up to. Tell us a little bit about Postal Petals.
Yeah, so Postal Petals is an immersive wellness and self-care company that uses fresh cut flowers and do-it-yourself flower arranging as a tool for creative expression, mindfulness, and therapeutic exercise. And so what we do is we partner with domestic flower farms to ship boxes of fresh cut flowers to our customers all across the country for them to create their own arrangements. Then we also do virtual and in-person floral design workshops. We've got some corporate offerings, a few other kind of key audiences that we solve with our wellness solution.
So let me get this right. Like, it's a subscription box that, like, some people do snacks or, skincare, but this is flowers.
Yeah. So the best way that I can describe it is think about like a meal delivery service where they send you all of the ingredients and then it's left to you to make the meal with the ingredients that they ship you. That's ultimately what we do. And we offer it in 3 box sizes, and you can purchase on demand, meaning you can do one-time purchases, but we're primarily a subscription model where people can subscribe to have, and rather than say subscribe to have flowers delivered to you once a week, every other week or once a month, we say, subscribe to have your wellness experience, scheduled. So again, it's a 3 subscription option, either weekly, biweekly, or monthly.
And then the flowers come kind of loose, and then the individual just kind of uses them maybe in multiple vases or however they want to arrange it.
However they want to arrange it. And typically that's the number one most consistent feedback that we get from our customers is that you get a lot of flowers when that box shows up. So you're typically making multiple arrangements. And we have some people that, have really big vases and are able to make a single arrangement with all of the flowers in the box. But typically what we find is that people make multiple placements to go around their homes or offices.
Now, what was the genesis of the idea? How did this come about?
Oh, this was one of those ideas that came out of a hobby turned profession, but really came out of necessity. So many years ago, I started arranging flowers. Really, my first entry point to it was as a friend activity, just something to do kind of different with a friend that, was different from, coffee or dinner or lunch or something. And I found it immediately just really relaxing. It just resonated with me. And I started to, whenever I would feel stressed or anxious in any way, I would go down to the LA flower market, kind of mill around, never knew the names of flowers, just would mill around and just kind of pick whichever flower spoke to me, which the colors of that made me feel good for that day, the shapes, what I thought would look good together. And then I would go home, put on, some, kind of like soft music, pour a cup of tea, and just kind of lose myself in the process of arranging flowers. And it just really became kind of my go-to form of self-care. Whenever I'd feel stressed or anxious, have, a lot of kind of emotional weight on me, I would just arrange flowers and I could just instantly feel that pressure just start to relieve itself from me in the process of prepping them and arranging them stem by stem. It just was always very therapeutic for me. And then fast forward to the very early days of the pandemic, here in LA, we're based in LA. We went on lockdown about the 2nd or 3rd week of March, and it was, remember, only meant to be for 2 weeks. And that 2 weeks turned to 4 weeks, turned to 6 weeks, turned to, a year and a half. But by the 6th week, it was becoming really clear that this was not a temporary situation, like immediately temporary situation. And, I just, like everyone else, started getting really nervous and anxious around the uncertainty of it all. What does that mean for me, for my family, for my livelihood, all of these things? And I was stressing. The walls were starting to close in on me. And, I was, meeting with my therapist twice, sometimes 3 times a week at that point. And she was the one who actually suggested, she was like, Talia, I haven't heard you talk about arranging flowers in a few months. Why don't you try that and see if that helps you to calm down? Because I've been really successful using that as a tool previously. And I thought, oh, that's a great idea. The main problem was that the LA flower market was closed because of the pandemic lockdowns. And so I figured, I'm sure you can ship everything at this point. Anything can be delivered. I'm sure I can find a company that could ship me fresh cut flowers that I could arrange myself. But as I looked, I couldn't find it. People were shipping finished arrangement, which is traditionally what people are used to when engaging with flowers, but I just could not find a company that would just ship me, a bundle of roses, a bundle of dahlias, a bundle of sunflowers that I would then, break apart and create my own arrangement. And so, long story short, it was really that journey that led me to recognizing that there was a hole in the marketplace, and that based on my background in, marketing, PR, branding, brand strategy, I knew that I had the expertise to fill that gap. And so that's how the Postal Petals was birthed back in early May of 2020 is when I came up with the idea. We launched in beta by July of 2020, and we've been going and growing ever since.
Now, is it something that you have to invest a lot of energy and time in kind of educating the consumer of this is even a thing to do to create these wellness outcomes that people desire? Like, because I wouldn't think that this is top of mind. Like you said, it was difficult for you to find kind of a mixture of cut flowers just sent to you.
Yeah. Yeah, Lee, and that's a really great question, because that's exactly probably one of our biggest challenges, right? Like I always say, just again, going back to my experience in branding, I always say, there are two major obstacles that any new brand typically comes up against when they're coming into market. First and foremost is brand recognition, right? Making sure that people know that you exist. The second thing is help, kind of making people understand why they would prefer you over the alternative, right? And this is typically apples to apples, like why I would choose Pepsi over Coke, or, something like that, like a kind of even comparison. For us, we had a third obstacle, which to your point, Lee, is, why would I even want to do this, right? Because as I alluded to earlier, people are traditionally and really generationally conditioned to experience flowers as a ready to use product. And by ready to use product, I mean professionally designed by a florist, typically just either, picked up at a retail space or delivered right to your door. You kind of sit it down on your table. Maybe you take a few pictures and throw it up on the gram, but that's really the extent of your engagement with flowers. You don't really think about them as an interactive experience, and you definitely don't think about them as an interactive self-care or wellness experience. So a huge part of what we're doing right now is really educating people on the benefits of arranging your own flowers, right? The idea of, this being the floral version of, when people will say, oh, you need to go touch grass, meaning go and connect with nature, right? And talking about gardening as a comparative for flower arranging, both being, when people talk about touching grass, it's really what they're saying is you need to go and connect with nature, because that's, those things like are scientifically proven to improve your well-being. And gardening is also a known therapeutic. People who garden talk about how incredibly meditative it is and how therapeutic it is just to have their hands in the soil and just be working with the earth. And so a lot of our kind of messaging, with our flowers has really been around finding comparisons that people can understand. And then we do a lot of work in the community, right? We host regularly, what we call our free community wellness events. And it's typically kind of, curating an experience so that people begin to associate flowers in this way of self-care and wellness. So we'll typically start with movement, which is usually walking, hiking, or a gentle restorative yoga session, followed by either a guided or sound bath meditation or, breath work exercise. And then we have them take that peaceful energy into just a really relaxing, floral design experience. And we find that when people are kind of guided through that journey and kind of culminating with that floral design experience, they get it right away because it is incredibly relaxing. But that's an obstacle that we, are constantly coming up against and trying to find new ways to educate people on not just, the art of flower arranging, but really why it's a wellness and self-care benefit to them.
Now, when you're out in the marketplace, are you selling primarily locally, or is this something that anybody around the country can go to the website and order?
Oh yeah, we absolutely ship nationally. So the way that it works is we partner with domestic flower farms. And then we ship the boxes of flowers all across the country. So we're an e-commerce platform for consumers. So they're able to go onto our website and then select the flower recipe that they like best based on the flowers that are curated in that recipe. They tell us what box size they want, and then they let us know, do they want just a one-time purchase, or do they want to subscribe to receive that box again, weekly, biweekly, or monthly? And then we ship those boxes to them overnight via FedEx. And we ship anywhere in the continental United States. And then when they receive that box, they open it up, and right away they've got some instructions on what to do when they get their flowers. First thing is always, give them a little trim and put them right in water and let them, kind of hydrate and perk up for at least 2 to 3 hours. And that's really because we ship, usually the flowers have been out of water for, at least 18 to 24 hours, by the time they arrive to their recipient. And so, we give them some quick care tips to get their flowers to perk up. And then once their flowers have rehydrated, they're able to scan a QR code on the box that takes them right to our website, where we start to kind of give them some more specific design tips for the specific recipe that they have.
So on your website, there's kind of instruction or education about how to, attractively design a vase, or because I would imagine people haven't had this experience before, so they don't even, they don't want to necessarily, there's probably no right or wrong, but they want it to look good. So there's probably techniques to make it look as good as it can, right?
That's exactly right. And it's interesting. I appreciate you asking that, because we're actually in the process of redesigning our website and having it be one that will support a design app that we're working on building out now. That's really intended to kind of show people all the different ways they could design that one recipe. So they may have one recipe, and we may have, 5 to 7 different design videos that they can tune into, that can show them different ways that they could arrange the flowers, in their vase, right? So it's to say, our boxes for the 3 sizes that they get will come with, 6, 9, or 12 bundles of flowers. We always say to people, don't feel like all of those flowers have to go together in a single vase. If you like 2 of the flowers together, maybe you have one arrangement that just has 2 types of flowers, one arrangement that only has 1 type of flower, one arrangement that has, 4 of the 6, or, just kind of showing people that they don't really have to be, just because we curated them together in a box doesn't necessarily mean that they all have to go in a single arrangement together. It's really kind of a more holistic aesthetic curation to say that these flowers, when placed in proximity, will all look good. Will all look good together. And so, yes, they can go onto our website and see design tips. And, within the next, I think 4 to 6 weeks, we'll have the new site up. Well, they'll be able to see even more design videos and tutorials for the recipes that they have. We're actually really excited about that because, again, that's one of the things that we've heard from our customers most, is that they'd love to see more tutorials, more videos that kind of support them through that design experience. Because to your point, for the most part, most of them have not, they're novice, they're very new to this experience. And so the more that we can support them, the more they're willing to give it a try.
Now, can you share a little bit about the reason you decided to become part of WBE West?
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's an easy one. I'm all about finding your community and finding your people. And I met a couple of women who were a part of WBE West and were certified women-owned businesses. And they just, really raved about the way the women work together, the way they collaborate, but also the way, WeBeck, overall WeBeck West in particular really goes out of their way to curate experiences and opportunities to get you in front of in front of corporate clients, which is, again, when I talked earlier about, we have several key audiences, one of which being corporate partners. And there's the opportunities that exist when you become a certified WeBeck member just cannot be matched, right? Because when it's almost like giving you an extra leg up and point of entry when you're trying to get connected to brands that you may not currently have, relationships with. They set up opportunities for us to, pitch them on our products and services, actually talk to them about how we can make our offering more compelling, so that we can, be more likely to land contracts and those kind of things. They, help us with, creating capability statements so that we know that the, kind of initial presentation explanation of capabilities and services are being presented and laid out in a way that corporate partners and potential clients would want to see. So it's just it's been a really, really incredible experience. I actually just earlier this week submitted my renewal for them. We renew every year, and I don't anticipate a time when I won't be a member of WeBeck, in particular WeBeck West. I think that their programming and the way that they support their members is bar none.
Now, it would be remiss for me not to ask you, since you are a marketing and branding expert, any advice for the entrepreneur or aspiring entrepreneur out there? Like, what are kind of foundational elements of branding and marketing that you would recommend somebody explore if they have a new venture like yours was new in a space and you were kind of creating that space? Any advice?
Yeah, you know what? The two main pieces of advice that I give any new founder, any new entrepreneur is, first and foremost, ask for help, because you're likely going to be doing something that you've not done before. And there are so many people that want to help you. They just need to know that you need help. So absolutely, absolutely ask for help and allow people to be of service to you by helping you to grow the business that you're building. The second thing would be collaborate. Find other people to collaborate with, right? I always say one of the core value tenets of Postal Petals is that African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And I just believe strongly in the power of collaboration, cross branded collaboration on social media for giveaways, those kinds of things. Whenever we do giveaways, we always do them in partnership with at least one, but sometimes up to 3 or 4 other emerging brands. And that's because when you cross promote, you're able to introduce your product and service to their audience, and they're able to introduce their product and service to your audience. And it's just a really great kind of cost-effective way for you to expand the visibility of your brand. And then the third thing that I'll say, and this probably comes from my, kind of professional training as a publicist, is never underestimate the power of earned media. Most of the time when you're starting a new company, you're bootstrapping, meaning that you have very limited resources. And earned media is an excellent way to gain brand recognition and to get the word out about your story and what you're doing. So I would say ask for help, collaborate, and really, really focus on earned media in the early days as much as you can.
So what do you need more of? How can we help you?
This being on right now is a huge help for me because, for us, it's all about continuing to spread the message. Right now we're in the throes of Mother's Day promotions, and we've got a really exciting workshop that we're rolling out for Mother's Day that we're super excited about, where we celebrate, not just traditional moms, but, people who are mother figures, women who are aspiring to be mothers, and really curating a space that's safe for moms from all walks of life in all stages. And so for us, it's, just continuing to push our message out, continuing to let people know that we exist, let people know that, there's a new way to experience flowers. There's a new way to experience self-care, and it's Postal Petals. And, we're postalpetals.com and at Postal Petals across all digital platforms. And so we'd appreciate people, visiting our pages, liking our pages, subscribe to our newsletter, and, purchase our box for themselves, for a friend, and just, continue to spread the word about floral healing and floral wellness.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. You're doing such important work, and we appreciate you.
Oh, thank you so much, Lee. I truly appreciate it. And thank you again for having me.
All right, this is Lee Cantor. We'll see you all next time on Women in Motion.